Welcome in, everyone, to the Challenge After Show. Today, Jenna, Pamela, and I are talking about the Challenge World Championship, Episode 7, The New World Order. The gang's all here. We're back in action. We're ready to rock. Hold on to your socks.
Yeah.
Hold on to them.
Socks on. I don't have socks on, and I almost showed my feet, but not for free. Nope.
Yep.
Caught myself real quick.
Well, Pam, you have the only Pam's account, so maybe Jenna can be featured on your account and show off her feet. Seriously, though, I do have socks on because it's still freaking cold in LA. It's a cold day today in LA, and I'm still upset about it. It's April. My God, what are we doing?
It's hot in New Jersey today.
Nice.
Hot, like you can lay on the beach and tan. People were. I walked to the beach today.
Congratulations.
Congrats to me, really.
How's Palm Springs, Pam?
It's warm today. It's funny. It's overcast today.
Crap today here.
Yeah, today is overcast, which is nice because it makes it feel a lot cooler. It went from, I'm like, where was like the 80s? Because it went from like 70s to like 90 yesterday. And I was like, where's like the nice transition weather where it's nice hot? But then it's going to go down. This is the fun weather chat that you guys tune in for.
I know, right?
It is going to go down and be in the 70s the rest of the week and then go back up.
Wow, guys. So now you know what's happening in Palm Springs this week. Dan, over to you.
Yeah.
Over to me is I didn't like this episode that much. That's what's over to me right now.
Okay.
One of the most boring daily challenges I've seen in a while. It was called Tunnel Time, more like nap time for me. My God, was that boring. And it was poorly designed, everything. We'll get into it, but that was my overall thoughts. Ladies, please go on. The round table is saving the show. The round table is the best part of this damn show.
Yes, I will. I'm going to completely echo what you said. I really liked it towards the end. The second half really picked up for me. But the first half, I was like, I don't want to be a non-positive Pam, but like, boo. I was like, this just is boring. It's stupid. I don't care. I thought that the execution of the daily challenge, which I fully forgot, and I just finished watching the episode, I didn't like that they had two people going together. It's sort of like helping because it was almost team style. So that's
the poorly designed part I'm talking about.
Right. It's like, well, at that point, then be teams and like the fastest of that team time or something. I don't know. It just didn't really make sense to have two people going together.
I think they thought maybe one person would try to lie to the other person. They get some good footage there, but it didn't seem, because they would show that if it happened, and it didn't seem like one person, oh, I got another Australian one over here, and just to try to get them to believe there's one more number, then throw their numbers off. Because if one number's off, your math is completely off, as we all know. So,
well,
it didn't happen though. So it's like no payoff.
Turn it around though. I thought it totally made up for it. Round table on.
Oh yeah.
Or discussion pre-round table on. I was like, yes. All right, now I'm on board. Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Pam. It always takes me like a good 20 minutes to get into the episodes. The roundtables are saving the episodes, but also people being defiant and not really wanting to go with the status quo. Insert KellyAnne, insert Ben and Casey also. Like they took KellyAnne's amazing plan and took it even up another level. So I'm loving that people are just they're willing to even like go home instead of being the lowest on a totem pole of an alliance just because someone's telling them what to do, or they might have a number for 1 week. So that's really cool. But yeah, going into the episodes, it's like immediate montage of people working out and right into game strategy. I'm like, here we go, jumping right into the game again. You know, they're never talking about anything else but the game.
Do you know the first two challengers that they showed this episode at the beginning? Who were the first two they showed?
Emily?
No, second group. There was two. There was a
Justine
pair.
And Bananas.
Correct. Justine and Bananas were the first ones that they showed this entire episode. I wrote it down because I was like, it's gonna happen. And boom, they were the first people they showed. I was like, yep, something's gonna happen. I wrote down setup. I wrote Bananas and Justine, and I wrote the word setup, thinking maybe they're gonna be involved. Maybe I'll be wrong. Who knows? But 100%. Yeah, there it is.
Good catch, Dan. Because
and you're right though. The second people they showed, Jenna, were Emily and Jess strategizing.
And that was who picked them. So it's just completely foreshadowed.
What about Yes's math brain?
Sure. Awesome.
What in the Sam Hell, like, is he a prodigy? Who knows how to do math? Like Cam does. Cam's the other person that it's like you yell out figures and they can do them in their head. I would never, ever, ever be able to do. Like, I'd rather run 10 miles than do math.
Well, so that was like long multiplication, which I don't know how people do that in their head, but like,
I don't either.
But then you have the other side of that, and you have Kaz, who she goes, "Oh, what's 6 times 7?" And you have Jordan's thing. He's like, she doesn't know what 6 times 7 is. Oh shit! Like this is gonna be bad because that I don't. I'm confused. Do people not know multiplication? Like, I'm not even trying to be judgy or hatey or whatever, but do people not know like what's 9 times 8? Like, I know it right off the my head. Like, it's just like we learned that.
I don't remember.
You don't remember what 9 times 8 is?
Yes, people do not know. I'm just going to say
Pamela's living proof right here.
Yeah, like I could probably figure it out. Like after.
Oh, you don't know either. You don't either.
No, that's the people. That's the people that I'm
okay. So wow.
I still don't know what 6 times 7 is. We've been sitting here talking about
42.
it. 42.
Correct. Hey.
42. Gotcha.
Yeah. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, I remember. Okay, so then 7 times 7 is 49. Like I remember, but it's not on the top.
Well, I don't. Why is it that I just know those? But I mean, I don't. Once it goes past 12 times 12, I don't know after that. Like,
no,
you know
I once did. I once memorized my multiplication tables, but there's so many of them, and I haven't used that skill in 20 years plus.
Remember those? Did you guys have the mad minutes in school when you would get a sheet of paper and
you had to do as many as you could in 1 minute? Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I was always just like just putting random answers so I could hand it in and be like, yeah, I finished too. I did it. I participated. I played.
Well, we had the ones where the teacher would put 2 kids up at the front of the class next to each other, and they would say like, 6 times 8, and whoever said 48 first would get to stay there. Then they have to go another person. So you'd be like getting embarrassed in front of your whole class, basically.
Yeah.
If you don't know who's quicker to get those, So you just, I guess maybe that's why I just memorized them out of pure really don't want to be embarrassed.
You're Devin.
I'm thinking the fact that you say that makes me think maybe that's where Yes's early training came from. Maybe he was in a similar situation.
She was like, "What's 36 times 49?" Or I was like, "I don't know. How do you do that?"
She said like, "What's 52 times 106?" Like that
was insane. I mean, because I can do them if I have a piece of paper, but this dude is like this chained up. So very impressive.
Not only did he do it mentally, and this wasn't even editing, it was rapid fire.
Right.
He would immediately know the answer to the math equation.
Which is the other reason why this challenge was sort of stupid, was because once they announced, well, we knew the 2 people lowest, but once they announced who the top 2 were, there wasn't much to it. It's like, once you figure it out, you're running, at least from what we saw, 30 feet. Like, it's not like, oh, and then the next portion is who's the fastest. It's like, once everybody's kind of getting out of the tunnel at the same time around.
Did you notice how quickly the producers went into that montage? They were like, God, this is boring to watch. Montage. Like, they knew it too. They only showed like 1 or 2 people go. They were like, oh, this is crap. Like, this isn't entertaining. They went right into it real quick.
So once they said that, I was like, well, I mean, unless someone else beat Yes's calculator brain math skills, there's nothing really else to make someone faster. Yeah. It's not like, oh, Theo's a triathlon. He ran that 20 feet so fast. It doesn't really matter at that point. So that was another.
To be honest, I didn't hate the challenge, actually. Like, I didn't realize until we're talking about it now that, yes, it was pretty boring. But when I was watching it, I was kind of into it because of Kaz and Jordan, and Jody and Benha originally being the ones to time out. And then seeing Kaz and Jordan have such a hard time, and Amber and Troy have such a hard time, I was kind of like, oh, are they going to time out too? Who's going to end up being the bottom team? And my husband and I couldn't figure out, like, okay, how are they going to figure out who is the lowest of the low? And then they're like, oh, whoever got the most math problems. And we're like, okay, that's obvious. We're like, oh, is there going to be a bigger? So they have to do it again,
what I don't get about this challenge is you have legends in this show, and it's like, nah, we're just gonna tie you up for a whole episode. Like, why aren't you using them to entertain us? They're there for you at your disposal, but no, we're just gonna tie them up. I have a great conspiracy that's totally not true, but I love throwing conspiracies out. Amber's pregnant, and they're like, we can't have her doing anything for the next couple episodes till we reveal it to the world, and because we don't want to get in trouble, so let's just tie her up for this episode so she's just stuck there doing nothing. There you go. Hey Pamela, I had a better one last week for her. So
okay, because I was gonna say, even if that was true, she wouldn't have been doing much anyway. Like, go through a tunnel, and then she did the same thing if she was in the tunnel as she would have done if she wasn't in the tunnel.
I think a few things happened. I think it started as a good idea, and the producers had false expectations. I think they thought people were not going to work together. They thought people were going to backstab each other in the tunnel. And I think they thought more people were going to suck at math, but only a few of them did. You know, I think it's a lot harder when you're sitting there and you're struggling with the math, and it's more entertaining to see people be like really bad at math, or they counted the flags incorrectly, they have to go back into the tunnel. I think that we're expecting there to be a lot more action, and there just wasn't. So
that one did happen though, Jenna.
That did happen once. They had to go back into the tunnel. Troy, and Kaz. And I think like what it was is they needed to use that location. I think they scored a really cool location, whatever that abandoned castle was. And they were probably given access to the tunnel, and we're like, okay, we have like 10 feet of this tunnel we can use. What are we going to do with it?
Yeah, I'm trying. I like, honestly, if we put our three brains together, I wonder if we could come up with like something a little bit more fun to do than this. Like,
yeah,
it's just like the whole thing is the tunnel's so dark. We don't know it. We can't see
final that we produced on YouTube.
Exactly.
Well, that's a whole different story. Is that on YouTube? Can people watch that on YouTube?
Oh, Jenna? Actually, I don't think it is on YouTube.
I don't think it is either.
I don't think so.
Wait, it is actually. It's on. If you go to AfterBuzz, it's on the AfterBuzz site.
It's on that episode.
You'd have to watch. So you have to fast forward to the end of our episode, which would be like one of the final ones because it was like the final.
Yeah.
Anyways, good luck finding it.
Season. I mean, when I start thinking about those things, like Theo, who I do enjoy on the show, that season was so good. I mean, like that whole season with Theo and Georgia and Paulie and all that nonsense. Remember their pool kiss, Paulie and Theo?
Oh yeah.
When they were fighting, then Paulie just kisses him on the lips. So good. So good.
Yes. Oh, me. Same here. Ditto.
Yeah. Memory lane. But yeah, I mean, this was, again, it's not that it was terrible or anything. It's just really hard for me to invest in the beginning. It takes a while to get into it until things start happening.
You know, again, I love on Paramount Plus that they let all the swears fly. I like that.
Oh, okay.
Jordan let out 2 F-bombs tonight. He said shit. I mean, and they're not bleeping any of it. That's kind of you don't even realize, you kind of did. I didn't even realize they weren't bleeping them until oh wait, did I say the F word again? Like, oh, they don't have to bleep on Paramount Plus. That's kind of cool. So yeah.
Even did you see that they gave subtitles to the cockroaches?
Yeah, that was dumb. That was so dumb.
What did the cockroaches say?
They said, what are these lights doing down here? It wasn't even, the problem was, Jen, it wasn't funny. Like, it was stupid. The cow one, remember when they gave the cow subtitles? That one was funny.
Yeah. Yeah. That was good.
I think the intent is funny, but it's actually even funnier how unfunny it is because it's like such a bad attempt. It was like one cockroach said, "What are these guys doing down here, bruh?" And then the other was like, "I don't know. I don't like this green light. And
I don't like these lights." That was so dumb. That was awful.
It was like, oh, did your 7th grade kid write this? Like the producer's editing from home, and he's like, "Fuck, I don't know what to write." And the kid comes in like, "Oh, that cockroach said, I don't like these lights, bruh." And he's like, "All right, I'll just do that."
Yep.
I like it. Well,
so according to the judges, because we have no idea what the hell these times are, Sarah and Theo got 2nd place. And Emily and Yes, who would make sense because we talked about Yes and how good he is at math, they end up winning this thing. Here's the issue here. Here's some drama. Jody and Benha, Kaz and Jordan both time expired like we talked about before. Now, again, we don't really know. We know they both expired time. Do we really know at all as viewers who solved more math problems like you brought up earlier, Jenna?
Right.
No, they can have either one of these teams lose. My thought where it was, here's my other conspiracy, is, well, which one's going to cause more drama? Yeah, we don't want to see Jordan go home as producers, but at the same time, having Jody and Benha lose and have to go in again, who cares? We've seen it. And we actually have an opportunity to have Jordan down there and Kaz. Maybe Jordan and Kaz didn't even get last. We'll never really know. But this gave more drama if that's what they were trying to do. That's the conspiracy. I'm not saying it's true or not, but there you go.
I know. Not to jump on the conspiracy bandwagon, but
oh boy.
Did you catch TJ's wild line when I was hardcore locked into the instructions of the daily challenge this week. Okay.
Good for you.
Because TJ did talk about that bar last week. One of our commenters said it was very clearly laid out. And I was like, you're probably 100% absolutely right. I just black out when
if
it's
you knock out the bar. I didn't know what
the
happened.
bar they had to jump over last week. Yeah.
To get the point, does it count as clearing it or
you
not?
got time taken off supposedly?
Oh yeah, you got to see. I still don't.
Come on, Jenna.
But TJ this week goes through all of the directions, and it's obviously like the audio from when he's outside, right? And like the gnat sound and the ambiance of where so it's like, okay, and those are the rules of the game. And then all of a sudden it's like, and it's gonna be timed, and whoever is last, like it just is so it doesn't match.
For those at home that don't know what a wild line is, a wild line is said like you can't actually see the person's lips moving. It's said off camera. So to believe that that wild line was said in time during that episode at that moment, it probably wasn't. So they can make Laguna Beach is famous for their wild lines. If you remember Laguna Beach back in the early 2000s, they could make you believe that Steven was dating every single girl in Laguna Beach using these wild lines. They'd make him record in a van after the whole season was done. So they can insert it where they want to make their episodes go. It's exactly what they did.
It literally would be like, ugh, I hate Lauren so much. Like, as they're walking to the car.
Yeah. Unless you see their lips moving, you cannot believe they actually said those lines in context. And that's
that entire time. And that entire time we're seeing TJ's back. And it could have just been a fuck up. Like it could have just been like, maybe they ran out of time that day, or like he forgot to say it. Who knows, this, that, or the other. It could have been so sincere and not, you know, a conspiracy at all.
What was the line?
The line was that it was a timed event.
Okay.
Is that the challenge was timed. So I was thinking the fact that they had to get it after filming, I'm like, well, did they just decide and post that it needed to be timed in order
to wait, so you're telling me when he says the 45, this is going to be, it's going to take you 45 minutes. If you don't do this in 45 minutes, you'll time out. He never said those words. You couldn't see him saying those words on camera at all? I thought he did.
I have to go back and check because I just watched it, so I don't want to botch. But I'm sure, you know, people in the comments probably caught on to this too. Like you'll hear the very abrupt difference in his audio and what it sounds like.
I've heard it too.
Talking, and what I remember him saying is that this is going to be timed. So I'm sure it's like.
Well, listen to this one. Remember when Wes
to think about in a conspiracy way?
You remember when Wes won the Daily Challenge this season? And he slides underneath the closing door. You hear TJ in the back say, "All right, Wes, you're the winner." It's a wild line completely that they threw in later because there was such a weird way to win it, but that is a guaranteed wild line for that one too, where I was like, oh, that's way off. But hey, my man Wes won, so I was just pumped. So there you go. Same idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure, but this game wouldn't have made sense any other way. It had to have been timed. So I'm sure they probably just forgot it, but I was like, ooh, well, why would that come later? Does that mean that they decided later on that it was going to be timed, so that way they could influence who won the time, you know, all fun stuff like that.
All right. So Jody and Benha, they're safe. Kaz and Jordan, they're guaranteed going down to what the hell is it called this season? The arena? Is it called the arena again?
I don't think so.
I missed when it was the auto zone.
No, it's not. I swear they've used whatever it's called this season. They've used it in the past. But anyways, they're down back in there. They're going in. I want to say this about the USA team because they're all strategizing now. They're back at the house. They're all trying to get the votes to go one way. I cannot stand at least one player on every single one of these US teams. Theo and Sarah, don't like Sarah. I go down line. There's one person I don't like. Ben and Casey, not a fan of Casey. You know, we go down. There's not a US team that I like both players, and I can't stand that none of these, like, I guess Tori and Danny, but Danny's kind of bothering me this season, and actually Tori's bothering me this season too. So I don't like either of them right now, this season at least. I'm having an issue.
And Bananas, who don't you like?
I don't like Banana. When have I liked Bananas my entire life?
No, but I mean, in the context of this, it's okay. All right.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Wes, someone in our comment section, Jenna, said that I should watch the Wes interview on the Bananas podcast. Okay. So I went, I did that. And it was actually really interesting what those two talked about. It actually cleared up a lot of the stuff that we talked about last week too, Jenna. So I highly recommend watching it as well, because that fight that he and Sarah had, apparently there was stuff left out. So it made him look a lot worse than he was, because everyone was jumping on Sarah's side. But when I listened to them, I don't know if Bananas telling the truth. I was like, oh, I can see why Bananas would be upset then, why he reacted that way.
I've got, since I wasn't with you guys last week, I don't understand. I thought she came off as a lunatic. They didn't make him look bad. She's like, you're not going to talk to me that way. And all he said was like, yeah, you really want to pay attention. Like, he didn't lose his shit. I didn't understand why it's weird that people were getting on. I obviously don't like Sarah. God, Sarah and Josh as a team. Oh, it would be my dream of hating. I would just drool over how much I hated that team.
Well, Pam, get ready for Josh's return to the challenge. You'll see him soon.
Well, I saw his sexy picture. So
yeah, I sent you that sexy picture of him. Yeah, I sent you both that picture. Yeah.
Weird. We have to share it with the people in case they
should share his awkward picture, but maybe he was so
awkward that I feel like I almost feel bad for him. I feel like the producers dislike him as much as I do to do that to him. Like, they're almost doing him dirty. It's a terrible
picture. I don't know why they use it.
And that's your headshot. Like, you can look really awful if you do.
Jenna, thoughts on the picture?
Well, just based off what you're saying, I don't think, and like, you get your license taken or something, they don't care how you look in your picture. The producer's like, okay, but it is funny, that picture feels very old. So it's like, what did they just how do they have that readily available?
I guess it's probably an old picture.
Is it old or is it new? Because I feel like I thought the one thing he had going for him, if you asked me, does Josh have a good body, I would have said yes. Until seeing this,
I never thought he had a good.
I mean, I don't know. I would figure he's, like a.
What's your definition of good body now? That's a good question to ask in 2023. Everyone's got a beautiful body.
No. I mean, like, I would have guessed in my mind. Apparently I have no idea based on this picture, but I feel like I was surprised, put it that way. At how dumpy he looked. I didn't realize certain people, they're not cut. You got your Devons, you got your whatevers, that's not their thing. They're not six-pack strong dudes. What is Josh then? He's not smart. I thought at least he was like strong, like he works out and lifts and stuff.
I think he's getting ready for this season. I thought I saw a picture of him saying like getting ready in the gym. I think I saw some, so I think he'll be all right.
All
right, you were talking about Sarah versus
back to Sarah. So wait, what were people? I'll listen to the West thing, but what was the I can't even
Bananas is trying to control the game. Bananas wants to just tell these VIPs, whatever the hell they're called, MVPs, where to stick it, and that he's in charge and listen to him. He knows everything.
I was actually on the side of Sarah because Bananas can annoy me so much.
Explain to me.
And it was pretty much, basically what Dan is saying is I feel like Bananas can take such a condescending tone with people. I understand that he's played the game so much longer. He's won the game 6 times, so I get it. Like, his advice is valuable. However, I feel like again, it's up to the editing, but he walks he like gallivants into a room and like acts as if he's the almighty king, talking over her, cutting her off, telling her, well, this is what I would do. And in all my experience, this is how I play the game. And then immediately when she's not really taking to that, he then gets like his very condescending kind of bossy tone. And it's like, sure, she only has 1 season under her belt, but like, can't she have an opinion and speak her mind? Like, he's very just quick to being like, you don't agree with me? Fine. And like walks out of the room, as if like your poo-poo opinion doesn't matter.
Banana said on the podcast, he said, well, the stuff that was cut out was me saying, hey, Sarah, it's not legends versus MVPs. Okay. You're attached to Danny, Sarah. Okay. Sarah's with Tori. I want to work with Tori. We're all attached here. So we all should be working together. It's not so. And then they cut all that out to make it sound like he just wasn't accepting anything she would say. So that's what he was trying to defend. Because he is right in that regard where he's like, he said to Sarah, I'm never going to go after you because of who you're attached to. I can't, or I'm going to have to get out my friends as well. But she wouldn't take that information in. Instead, she went bogus eyes and yelled at him. And that's what they showed.
What I was going to say, I swear, is that the reason I am on Team Bananas in this, whereas yes, he can be condescending and I get it, is that exactly that Sarah is fighting so hard against her own interests to be right. She's doing exactly what she's sort of accusing. It's like, I don't care about logic or our teammates or listening to people that know more than us. No one's going to tell me what to think. We're getting out Jordan. Like, even if that doesn't make sense, because he's also a number for you because your partner, the person, your team, none of it makes sense to me, which is a problem that I'm having overarching with this whole season.
Yeah.
Is that it doesn't make sense. And with her yelling, it actually hearing that sounds almost more I would feel like, don't lecture me on how to play the game. The way it panned was like, he wasn't as obnoxious. He was like, listen, guys, I want to tell you that when I came, it seemed like a kind of reasonable way of saying, I've done this a long time. It's important to sort of together, or whatever he was saying last week. And for her to take it to like, you're not going to talk to me like that. You're just not going to. It's like, you're crazy. And you're just deciding hell bent on getting in Jordan, whether it is a good for you or not.
I made the
listen,
comment.
I totally get it, but we're saying it's not legends versus MVPs, and that's true. But I have the sense that the legends are feeling like the MVPs are still trying to run the game and have it done their way. And I think like Sarah and Danny are just kind of like, well, we don't want you guys to just run the game. So that's why they have the kind of like kind of like,
I understand, but it's like, be reasonable. At that point, it's like the feeling of them trying to run the game is because they've played it longer and have a history. So it's like, it's just the natural law. I mean, there's no way to not have that exert itself in your gameplay. And I can understand being like, I want to play the game the way I want to play it. I can completely understand and respect that. But I feel like, because to put everything into I'm doing what I want is just childish. It's like, I'm going to beat you, whether it's, did someone say today in this conversation, people are really like willing to actually lose instead of go in? Yes, that's exactly. It's like, I think Sarah would rather be like, I'm standing my ground and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, than win. And it's like, okay, are you playing to win or are you playing to be right? And it's like, I guess if her pride or her ego, I think she's being the bananas in this situation. It's like, you're really
I think that Sarah and Danny are putting bigger targets on their back by acting the way that they are right now. And I don't know if it'll come back to bite them. I don't know. But if they had just played the game and not kept making, I don't want to say a fuss or just making a big deal out of all this stuff, I wonder if they would have just flown. Who's going to want to go against Danny? Anything? The dude played in like the NFL. Oh my God, like, no thanks. But Banana said one more thing. When they were picking teams to start this thing, I thought it was really interesting. Sarah actually asked him before she picked, because she could either pick Theo or Nelson. That's how late in the game she was picking. And she said, she asked Bananas. Bananas said that she asked him, and he said, you need to pick Theo. This dude's like a world champion, whatever.
Yes,
and Nelson's not going to be your guy. And he said, Sarah, if I wanted you to lose and not work with you this season, I would have had you pick Nelson. But I told you to pick Theo because she wasn't sure who to pick. So that was his other on it. Who knows if it's true, but that's
where I think
his opinion there. He's thrown her a bone before in the game. Interesting. But that's why it's so, like Dan and I were saying last week, Pam, is we're the audience members, and obviously we're being withheld from certain things on purpose, so that way we can interpret things a certain way. Not sure how intentional the certain character arcs are or the edits that people are getting, but there's so many times where I feel like we're missing so much context, where I am interested in like, okay, so what else has happened between Sarah and Bananas? They didn't just get from picking the teams to this point. Like, there's obviously been other conversations. There must have been for her to feel this way. Has Bananas talked like this to them before? Things like that, like other situations. Kind of similarly with Emily and Kiki. Obviously, we see a few things here and there, but is it totally enough for us to feel like that major beef and drama between those two? Like, I just feel like we're missing a lot of stuff. I don't know. It feels that way.
I feel the frustration with Danny and Sarah, mainly Sarah, because Danny seems to be a little more reasonable about it, but that it's like, I've made this decision and I would rather lose, die, eat my own face than be told what to do in defiance of this decision I've committed myself to making, whether it's wrong or right, just illogically, blindly committed to a decision. And I understand the frustration that both Bananas would have, and Bananas is like, look, I'm not an idiot. I didn't win this accidentally. Like, this is his job. I was watching today, and spoiler alert, fast forward this if you haven't watched the episode yet, but you can see he's sort of butthurt at the end of this episode. And I get it. It's like, to him, this is his life and his job. It's not a joke. It's like what he's done and how you perform in it matters. And it's like you know, performing poorly at your job that you've been at for 20 years sometimes. Or I think it's like there has to be, again, with the job analogy, let's stick to that. If someone's been working at a company for a year and you've been there for 20 years and you're like, yeah, of course, no one wants to be condescended to, and new blood is important too. And I get it. But it's like, if we're on the same team within a company and I'm like, look, I know that other client, we've worked with them for 20 years. He's like this, just someone going, shut up, don't tell me what to do. You're not my boss. I'm doing my own work. It's like, okay, I would feel like, why are you fighting with me? I'm on your side. I mean, I think she looks like a lunatic because it doesn't make any sense for her to be that opposed. It might be slightly condescending. So just roll your eyes and let him do his thing and then move on. But to be making these big game moves that you're just hurting yourself and making strife in the team that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's totally valid, but I'll just speak from a different perspective. I like that they don't want to bow down. I do. I really like it. I like that she's barking back. It adds entertainment. It adds excitement, whether, you know, it might be stupid for her gameplay in the long run. I like that she's just not willing to fold. And her,
I agree.
They believe in what how they want to play the game, and they're sticking to it. And I like it. They watch the show, I'm sure, so many times, and they're probably like, we know like Bananas, his game, you know, how he acts, and we just want to play our own. So whether I have to go home, I just don't want to have to like play someone else's game and be a pawn in someone else's game. But I don't know. That's my interpretation. So
I hear you.
We can move forward. We can move forward. I will quickly say that though, to start that conversation off from what they showed us, Sarah does say to Bananas, I'm all right with whatever as far as picking who's going to go, who they're going to pick at that round table. She says those words to him. He starts giving her advice, and then she starts blowing up like, you don't talk to me this way, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I had mixed emotions this whole time with both of them because I don't like either of them. But Sarah just annoys me to another level.
I know. I know. We talked about this a lot. So we got to move on.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
KellyAnne. You go, girl.
Round table, KellyAnne style. She's making the rules here. I've never been more convinced that these producers choose the order of when people vote, because the last people to vote was the one team on the U.S. that might go against what they want to do, and that's Ben and Casey. And they're the ones that keep it from being the stalemate. And I wrote down the votes, and they really did keep it from being a stalemate, which they could have done if they voted a certain way. So we talked about it last week, Jenna, and I don't know, maybe this is just a trickery camera work as well. The producers are just that they picked like third, but they make it look like they're picking last to make it more dramatic for us.
I'm sure they do make the order. I don't think that's like a trick. I'm sure they do.
All right, then that's what they did.
Yeah. Wait, but what's really important here is we have to talk about the lead up to this point. So Team USA has been divided this whole time. They're not friends. They're not on the same page. They're not picking the same teams together. Tori is kind of like the ringleader, bringing them together with her plan. I think her plan is just obviously trying to give Jordan the best scenarios possible and also get less blood on their hands. Like she's saying, we've thrown in Jody and Benha this entire game. Let's just keep doing it. And let's throw in the other Australian team so that us Americans can be strong. Very smart in theory. Totally get it. Just, keep your USA team together. But what her fault is just thinking that KellyAnne is easily gonna jump ship onto the Team USA team when Team USA has done nothing for KellyAnne. Tori was really dumb. And also pretty disrespectful as well to go over to KellyAnne and be like, KellyAnne, here's our game plan. Thanks for joining us. Like being like, being like Regina George about it. Like, okay, KellyAnne, like you're our friend now. You can sit with us now. And like, here's what we're going to do. Thanks so much, darling. Okay, ciao.
Agreed.
I mean, another reason I'm not feeling Tori this season. Like, this is just not a good season for her as far as likability. Like other seasons I've loved her. I was rooting for her in Devon last season. I can't, not really on Tori's team this season.
Why did they
KellyAnne KellyAnne, Jody, and now Darrell after this. I want those three to team up with their partners. Oh my God, my new favorite three for sure this season.
Why were they so confident KellyAnne would be like, okay? Like,
because they think KellyAnne's a pushover. They're always giving KellyAnne, they don't think KellyAnne, they think, oh, KellyAnne, she goes crazy. She flips out. She'll be so happy to work with us now. Even though we treat her like crap, she'll be so happy that we want to be with her now. And KellyAnne's like, I'm not putting up with this.
And KellyAnne's line. Yeah, she's like, that's sweet, but no, because you weren't working with me before.
Yeah, it's great.
So, go KellyAnne. She's had the best arc so far, honestly, of everyone. She's had the best story. Like, bye, John A., who I love, but it's like, peace out, girl.
Yeah, like Tori and Team USA were literally using KellyAnne in every sense of the word, and she cared enough about herself. Like we said, she would have rather gone home than be used and just jump ship with, you know, the bandwagon and be another number in someone else's game. I feel like she was literally like, fuck it. Like, I'd rather go home than know that I'm going to be at the bottom of the totem pole and just be this like little pawn piece in their game.
Right.
And like, I know this doesn't have a lot to do with it, but they're playing for $500,000. They're going to split it between the two after taxes. They're not playing for $1 million. I want people to not give a crap if they win the money or not. I want them to make game decisions based on, I want to cause drama. I want to not let people push me around, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not saying that it's only $500,000. That's obviously a ton of money, but it's not $1 million. That $1 million makes everyone almost like fall in line too easily, and it's not as dramatic. Blah blah blah. Like, make them play for like a lot less money because we're gonna get better drama.
I'm surprised you said that, Dan, you said they think KellyAnne is a pushover. In every season I've seen KellyAnne, she is the exact opposite. I've never seen her just want to be like the little, you know.
Is she acting that way this season?
Yeah.
Was she acting that way in the All-Stars she went into? A little bit. She did in All-Stars, I believe.
Yeah, but she's always been
and she
her own path. She's never really been like always in everyone's alliance. She's always a little bit outcast.
She's another one. She's the like antithesis of Sarah, who I hate. KellyAnne is like loyal to a fault to the point where I feel like she would self-sabotage to follow her loyalty or her gut or whatever.
Well, maybe that's a better word than pushover, but
yeah, she's very loyal
to a fault for sure. John A., for example, this season.
Yeah. John A. just screwed the pooch. It's funny. So did Wes. You know, they made choices that didn't pan out. And
yeah, it's funny that USA really thought they had all the power. Like, they were like, oh, KellyAnne is obviously going to do it because she's scared her name is going to get called. I think that's what not that she's a pushover, but she's scared her name is going to get called. Right. It's just so funny to me that they didn't think at all, like, well, what's going to happen if she doesn't agree with us? And
because none of them know her. If Wes
what about them assuming they also assume Ben and Casey were going to vote their way too?
Well, they would have. Ben and Casey really would have if they weren't potentially on the chopping block.
They weren't ever going to be on the. I think Ben and Casey literally were going to be fine if it went to a stalemate. Their only reason they were worried is because if it goes to a stalemate, we've got thrown in before. Maybe they'll say our names again. Well, why would they say your names again? It doesn't. They can say anybody up there. I think it was more of they don't want to go with Team USA. They mentioned it before. I think it was a convenient thing that they can use as their excuse button to say we can't tie it up. I don't think they were. You think they were really worried about it going to a stalemate and then getting called down there again? It's so that's very unlucky.
Well, we know once someone's name has been said, it's easy to say it again. That's why.
Yes, and Emily could say. So yes, and Emily are going to be up there and say, "Oh, well, Ben and Casey were called down before. We'll say their name again." They could have just said.
Emily's. But I love that they're making fun of Tori for like my ex-fiance, but Emily and Sarah are butt buddies, and it's like you freaking met a week ago, but Sarah's anti-Ben. So maybe Emily would, of course, if Emily's in charge. I don't think that's like a silly. I don't like Ben or Casey, and now I'm like Team Ben and Casey. I like that they did that.
It's weird. This season's weird with that. Every episode, I'm kind of jumping around with who I like and don't like. It's an interesting season for that episode wise.
Yeah, I mean, I really I liked that move a lot because I don't think it's ridiculous. But part 2, fuck everybody. I think if you're gonna play like that, just be better at it or cooler about it.
I believed Ben and Casey because I think all it takes is being burned once. People will have to, even if you win an elimination, maybe you gain confidence, but no one ever wants to go into one again. So the fact that you still are potentially a target and you have to walk into the elimination field, pit, whatever, with anxiety of your name even being possibly called, why not wipe that away if you have the power to? They were the last vote. So I think they were like, let's just ensure that our name's not going to get called. But I love that. So KellyAnne has this, she starts this whole thing because she goes and talks to Darrell and Kiki, and they're able to rally enough numbers on their side. But that's why I think it's even better that Ben and Casey decided to switch their vote from Team USA, because it goes from a stalemate, which would have been interesting, but interesting enough as just a stalemate. But then we get like two really awesome teams in elimination versus a really team. So no matter who's going in tonight, it's like, this is going to be a great elimination no matter what. If it had been a stalemate, maybe the power team would have thrown in like an easy couple or a boring couple or something like that. But this guaranteed, like, this was going to be a good elimination.
I will say this though, the Theo and Sarah thing, they made this whole big deal of like Theo and Kaz, like, oh, we might have to go against each other and we're ex-lovers, blah, blah, blah. At what second would Emily ever put Sarah and Theo down there? Because Emily and Sarah are now, as Pam just made fun of, besties from ever ago, right. And they've known each other for 3 days. But seriously though, Emily would never say Sarah's name. So they made this whole I had to watch all these scenes with Theo and Cass, and I think they might have to go against each other. It was all garbage. Come on, no one believed that, right?
Yes, and I'm so glad you said that about Sarah and Emily being such good friends, because it dawned on me, like, towards the end of the episode, oh yeah, Emily is of course going to save Sarah. Wait a second. That means Bananas, who is like arguably the best to ever play the challenge, is going to elimination episode 7. And it wasn't even like a drawn out plan to target Bananas.
Right.
Like, usually if you want Bananas out, you usually have to work like 3-4 episodes to like pave your route and figure out how you're going to do it. How are you finally going to get him out? It almost is like he fell into it.
Right.
How does that happen? How does the best player just coincidentally go into elimination?
There's only 10 teams left. There's only 10 teams left.
They did a really good job of misdirecting, because I never once thought about the Sarah Emily thing until later. And yeah, what a kerfuffle. That's why I liked it. Like, you don't know. It all happened so fast at the end. I wish that was more like sort of drawn out.
Yeah. Like KellyAnne was just trying to protect herself and not go Team USA, who has done nothing for her, who's just using her, and she ends up getting the best player in the show out of the game.
Right.
Well, I do think that there's a lot not shown, as you mentioned before, Jenna. And I think that from the beginning of this season, a lot of people were like, we got to get Bananas out, we got to get Wes out, and we got to get Jordan out. So I know that Justine says, oh my God, I'm shocked that there people are voting for us. But like, that's the other heavy hitter. That's an old school heavy hitter that you want to go for. You could have said Danny's name. You could have said Theo's name, because they're on Team USA as well. But why not? If you have the votes, throw Bananas down there. And they did take apart USA, because if you want, they said Theo's name, right? They said Bananas' name. And who else did they have? They could have said Danny. Danny would be the only other heavy hitter. But like, we got to keep the votes together to get those two teams down there. And Theo and Bananas are huge names from the guy's side that are going to have to, now he's out. But
well, I'm surprised.
More thought out, right? Like, there had to have been, we didn't see the conversations of why Bananas, Justine, and Sarah and Theo were the names that they were saying. I'm almost shocked that KellyAnne wasn't like, fuck it, I'm saying Tora's name.
Because... No, me too. I agree. It's like, I'm going to put Tori against fucking Jordan then. Like, you know, you're getting rid of a super strong team. Like, I'm surprised that wasn't a way that went, that they just dodged that completely. Once it was known who they were going to go against, it's like, fuck it. Let's be bold.
Exactly. So you're right. I'm sure there must have been, it couldn't have just been coincidence that Bananas was in there. Like I said earlier, they had to have been like, well, let's say Bananas and Justine, and if they go in, they go in. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
But we didn't see any of the conversations, so we don't know why they picked Bananas and Justine and Sarah and Theo.
So, ladies, I don't think you're going to remember this happening. I really hope that one of you does, because I feel like if you don't remember this, you're going to think that I'm crazy for saying it. Okay? Let's go to the club scene real quick. Not much happens in this scene, but something does happen in this scene. Did anybody see Bananas' wardrobe? Please tell me someone else saw this.
wardrobe. No,
Wardrobe.
I
His
thought
outfit. His
I thought
outfit.
it was telling though that he knew their conversation. Sorry, his wardrobe, his outfit. I can't recall. No,
I don't know.
Please, anybody go back and watch this and tell me that
Oh,
I did
God.
not see. He was wearing knee-high leather boots with like
Like,
they were
no?
tied all the way up. I swear this happened.
Oh, okay.
right, with a kilt.
like
Him and Justine are talking on the bench at the club, and they actually his leg is over her leg, like they're sitting with, and you could and I was like, oh, are they flirting? And then I looked closer to see what was going on. I'm like, oh wait, they're not really flirting, but he's wearing knee-high leather boots.
What I don't even understand.
Tell me in the comments section. I swear, and they were like pirate boots, like he was dressed as a pirate or something.
Love that. Good for him.
Good for him.
Skirt? Like,
Love
how could you
that.
see the top of his boots?
Because they were like canoodling on the bench as friendly, I guess, and he had his leg over her leg, and I was like, why are
pants on or like shorts? Like, how could you?
He had, I guess, shorts or pants tucked into him. I'm telling you, these things went up to his knees.
They're like combat boots. I think I remember now.
They were all the way up to his knees, though.
Like
It's crazy. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
But I have another bananas fashion. Does he have like a giant turkey tattoo? I was like, is that a turkey tail? Like, you know, when you trace your hand and draw a turkey when you're little? That's what his tattoo is.
That's not just the tail. That's the whole damn turkey, because the thumb is the head.
Right, right. The whole body. But it looked like, I was like, or is it a peacock? What the hell is that?
I don't know. Maybe he worked for NBC before going into his MTV days. I have no idea.
Well, he does.
He did.
He does now.
He did, like the late show with bananas.
Oh, was that on NBC? Yeah, he did.
Sleepover
That was brief, very brief, wasn't it? Yeah.
Shout out my mom. My mom watches that. She's always like, yeah. And then I was watching First Look with Bananas.
Yeah.
We're not. Don't you worry, mom. She's like, yeah, I was. I was like, oh God, go to sleep. It plays at like 1 a.m.
Yeah. That's what later than that, because it's like something else and then after SNL. So whenever
SNL, my mom loves SNL. She doesn't miss it.
I like SNL, but that show, the bananas, whenever I saw it, I was like, oh damn, I fell asleep on the couch. Like that's what that meant. It's like
now that they throw the SNL up on Peacock, I just like I'll catch like clips there. Like I would never be like a Saturday night, 11:30, gotta check this out till 1 a.m. But no, now that they throw it on Peacock, I can just watch a couple clips. I'm like, all right, I got my SNL, because I don't. Yeah. I gave up on SNL a while ago.
Great.
I listened to a podcast from Dana Carvey and David Spade, and they talk about the old days with Farley and Sandler and all those guys, and it's really entertaining. They have good guests.
What did you think about the elimination game?
Yeah, elimination, lock, stack, and barrel was what it was called, and hashtag happy sun. We should have everybody hashtagging happy sun, because that's Argentina. They got a happy sun. They don't never, as Benha said, never a frowny sun, only happy sun.
Bananas end with the final last season, slipping a little bit on the strategy and the
not just slipping, but did you hear what he said at the end? He said, huh? He said, you knew, right? You didn't help me. Well, sorry, bananas. Cry me a river. All's fair in love, war, and challenge. Isn't that what you love to say? Like, you're not getting the help this time, bud.
Sorry, yeah, he was upset.
He was upset because you know what?
Why would they help you?
Of course, he felt betrayed. You know why? Because he's on a team. I think he thought the Americans were going to have his back.
But it was Jody and Benha that, like, he was like, you knew, that said, oh, you're they're the ones that pointed it out.
I heard, yeah, but Jody. Well, I guess Jody's. I don't know. Obviously, Jody's Argentina, but not America on the U.S. team. But I just think, dude, you're a 7-time champion. How can you expect people to try to help you all the time? Maybe he thought he had more pull with Justine, that everyone loves Justine. They'll help Justine out, but they didn't try to.
Yeah, that's your attention to detail. I mean, you're looking at all of your barrels. You're telling Justine to just go hit the buzzer again, as if like everyone knows that doesn't fucking work. Like, we'll do the game.
Yeah. Can you run my card again? Right. It's like, no, girl, it's not working.
Oh my God, yeah.
Try it again.
No matter what the situation, you're like, well, let me just do the same exact thing again. Like, you can't log in with your password. You're like, well, let's just try it again.
Maybe it's a capital, right? Like, no.
No, but you don't switch it. You're like, no, it's definitely this. And it's told you 7 times it's not this. You're like, no, it is.
Who was it that was yelling to Jordan to try to help Jordan? Remember, they didn't have the dark blue barrel.
Tori was
Was it? No, it was a guy. Was it? I think it was Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was
Emily
Yes.
and Yes were
Yeah,
aggressively.
thank you. Yeah, it was Emily. They were yelling to help Jordan, to keep Jordan around. Yeah, versus Bananas.
They threw in Justine and Bananas. I don't think if you say someone's name in elimination.
Right, you don't want them coming.
Okay.
Duh. Right, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot too.
Jenna, you are correct.
But Bananas, what was frustrating.
I'm Bananas.
And
I've watched this show for so long.
I don't know if this was a wild line, hashtag wild line too, but Bananas, no, we saw him saying it, said, I've been doing this for a long time. And I know that sometimes there are pieces that look very similar that aren't the right piece. So I was like,
more of in his confessional, I believe.
Oh, no.
Maybe.
I don't
maybe
know.
Not.
But it was crazy because it's like, that's the kind of little details you have to look at. Yeah.
What I thought was tougher was the lines on what looked like, was it the Australian or the UK flag?
Yes.
Those flags were, those lines were rough. It was, yeah. And especially because you got to look at a barrel, you're looking down, you're trying to look up, then you're trying to, yeah.
Well, they're circles, so you don't know which way it's going to be pointing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You got to keep circling to find it up there. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I was really happy and excited with how entertaining the elimination ended up being, because when they said the game, I was like, this is way too easy for these four. Like these two different teams, I'm like, this is not going to be hard for them, picking up some barrels and putting like a big puzzle together, but it ended up being way trickier than I thought.
Well, I have a question. Is Cass a dud? Like, is Cass any good? I can't tell.
Didn't she say she won?
Okay, so I think she got a little, I don't want to say verklempt, frazzled. I think she got a little frazzled. It's her first elimination ever. Apparently when she won the UK version of the challenge, she never had to go into an elimination. That's why TJ made a big deal out of it tonight. But she did get frazzled. She also got frazzled, it looked like, during the daily challenge today. But yeah, Jordan's also, let's remember, Jordan is a kind of a hothead. So was he yelling at her with due purpose, or was he just frustrated and he's like, you Carrie, no, come this way, run this way, like he's yelling? It's like, yo, this isn't Anissa. This girl's probably a little more capable of getting to different places fast and quick. I don't know if you gotta do that. I don't know, because I think Kaz would do anything to win. I don't think she's gonna just give up like I've seen others do. But I don't know, that was a little, it felt a little harsh, but at the same time it did make her come off not great. So I was confused on what, I don't know yet. I think it's still to be determined. I think the jury is out still.
I just can't tell. Yeah, I'm not saying she is. I'm not
right. I don't know yet. Yeah, I don't know.
I think Jordan, the way that he does get so heated in eliminations, he can make people look bad, even
worse, right? Yeah,
yeah. Because why is he yelling at her to pick up the barrel? I don't think she even has like the wingspan to. Like, obviously, the guys in each partnership were the ones picking up and carrying the barrels. Like, she was rolling it as fast as she could.
Right, and then he said, "Pick it up."
And it's like, she can't.
Yeah, I agree, Jenna. Because he went and ripped the barrel out of her like hands, and he's like, "I'll take it the rest of the way." It's like, well, Jordan, dude, she's not that big. I don't think she could pick the. I don't think she can get her arms around the thing, like you said.
I know. I was like, isn't it been your whole strategy? It's like the whole assembly line. It looks like the entire elimination is that you have been picking up and carrying everything, and now you just like expect her to like Donkey Kong this over her head and sprint over to you. And it's funny because in the beginning of the episode, he was like, I don't want my partner to ever feel pressured because they're working with me.
Yeah.
I know.
Bow down.
Ladies, can I ask you a trivia question?
Yes.
Because it'll go to my next point. I think it's kind of fun to try to answer it. When you sign into Paramount Plus and you see the World Championship thing, and there's a couple characters. Yes, thank you. They're hanging on the cliff. Who's hanging on the cliff? Name the characters.
Tori.
Keep going.
Justine.
Yep. Keep going.
Bananas.
Bananas.
Danny.
Danny. And Kiki. Yes, correct. You got all five. When I saw that, high fives to everybody. I saw Bananas and Justine on that, and I was like, wait, usually they're going to want to show people on here that probably make kind of far. You don't want someone to go home in 1 week. I was like, wait a minute. Oh my God, is Jordan going to go home tonight? Because Bananas and Justine are featured on the poster for this season. You are always
snooping for clues. You get yourself in trouble with these.
I did, but so I was like, no, because I didn't want Jordan to go home. Obviously, I'm rooting for Jordan and Kaz. So I'm like, no, they're going to go home. What the hell? And plus, Bananas and Justine solved it first. So I was like, oh, shit. And luckily, I was wrong.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Okay.
Who would be you really want them to win? Who would be you really don't want them to win? And then who would be your dark horse that you think is better than you think, that like might pop up that you're not
I can name all mine right away.
Go ahead.
Well, I told you right now, it's KellyAnne, Jody, and now Darrell, because I want Darrell to team up, and their partners. So all their associates there. Those are 3 teams I'm rooting for. Sarah, you can go kick rocks. I'm done with Sarah. I don't know. I just don't like Sarah. I don't like her. I don't care.
She's the most unlikable person on reality TV.
No, but Pamela, read our comments, because everyone's saying how much this season they love Sarah. So I'm telling you right now, you are on an island. You and me, apparently. Jenna likes her.
I'm fine with her this season.
Oh my God. I feel like she is unbearable. Like she is just awful. Awful. Right. And like, again,
Sarah, I'm trying to get out of that speeding ticket I have, okay?
Oh, that's why you like,
No, she's beautiful this season.
Yeah, I would say the dark horse. I gotta like go over all the teams to find the dark horse though. Because you said you wanted a dark horse. I mean, you can say that KellyAnne and Tristan are the dark horses as well, because they've been like, KellyAnne came off so all over the place to being the season, put herself in kind of a hole, and she's digging herself out. But it looks like she's gonna find that air at the top, especially with now she's got people on her side. Unfortunately, I think we all know at this point that Amber is pregnant, so that's going to cause her and Troy to be out of there. I would say when Yes came back to the challenge on All Stars, I'd say he was a dark horse. But now that he's proven himself there, and clearly he's proving himself again, there's no way he's a dark horse.
Yeah,
I just don't like Emily is associated with Sarah, so I am having issues with that. But I've always loved Yes, so that's my issue there. It was the whole thing.
Okay, Jenna,
Jenna, you should weigh in first before Pamela, because Pamela did come up with the question.
I'm pretty much in agreement with you. Meaning I'm rooting for KellyAnne and Tristan and Kiki and Darrell strongly to win. And Jody and Benha. I didn't have them at the forefront of my mind, but now that you say it, love them because of their underdogness, but I truly don't think that they're gonna make it to the final.
Jody, unfortunately, like you could see Jody in that run. I just remember that running challenge. We had to get under the door. She's I don't say she's lost a step, but at the same time, she's older. Like I don't know if she's gonna be able to compete in all of the stuff. And Benha, I love this guy, but I think there's gonna be some type of communication issue with the two of them at some point in this game that's gonna be their downfall. But yeah, I
like them so much so far.
He's so nice. Like he just wants to make her happy and do the best he can. Like he's trying so hard. Not that they aren't all trying, but like there's something about him where it feels so much more sincere. Like that dude's not going to screw me over though. Like he's going to help me out if I need his help.
And sadly,
oh boy,
I do love Yes as well, but something about Emily like shitting on Kiki rubs me the wrong way.
Yep,
so I'm kind of like, Emily, I don't know. Maybe you could go.
You can go.
Maybe you could go. I don't know. Because there's not really anybody else that I like am really actively rooting against. But when I think about people who kind of like rubbed me the wrong way, she's one of them. At this point could change. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. Pam, before you answer, tell us at home in the comment section, answer those 3 questions for us.
Yes.
All right, go ahead, Pam, you're up.
So it's funny. I don't know with who I want to win. Kiki and Darrell are strong up there. KellyAnne also. And Jordan, I always love Jordan. It's, there's something about just
Jenna's over it. Jenna's over it.
Really pissing me off right now. He's just sometimes.
It's a funny representation of the world that we can see things different, because I didn't even think he was that terrible to her. That wasn't what I meant. I just mean we haven't seen.
No, I rooted for Jordan against Bananas.
Sometimes, like, even last season with the whole, like, follow me, Anissa, follow me, Anissa. Like, he can just be so, like, cocky that
he's extra.
Yeah, he could be like.
You know what it is, though, Jenna? I'm extra, too. So it's like, well, how can I hate on this guy? I'll be hating on myself. What's that about?
Hating in the mirror. My dark horse.
I don't know, because I understand that it's all competition and you want to win. I'm not saying you need to be super sensitive and super light to each other when you're in this really heated conversation. I'm just saying the things he says just come off really arrogant and cocky when he's trying to be tough on his partner instead of being like a tough motivator, like, come on, you need to do this, we need to win. It's like, follow me. And I don't want people to feel pressure because they're with me. Like it comes off
that was extra
bad. Yeah.
But I can sort of, it's like they picked them, you know what I mean? It's like, so again, it's a lot. Most people would just, you keep that to yourself, even if you feel that way. Like,
yeah,
so I agree. It doesn't really bother me for some reason because I don't know. I feel like they all, I mean, it's just like, it is what it is. It's almost just like kind of honest. And at least he sort of is forthright instead of like making it a joke where he's not joking, you know, like.
Who's your dark horse team, by the way, Pam?
Oh, so my dark horse that I love, and again, it's funny because I don't hate, I'm not by association disliking Emily as much as you guys are, even though I really hate Sarah. So she's the kick roxer. Even then Theo is a casualty. Sorry, Theo. But yes, and Emily, I mean, they're good. They're good. If they can get, you know, and they're also under, like, they're off a lot of people's radars. If they can get a strong alliance, get something going, I would love.
It's funny too, because they keep performing really well, but for some reason, no one's like worried about them yet. It's crazy to me because I really do think that Yes and Emily have a great chance here for sure.
We don't have numbers. I guess that's why it's these sort of big groups, these dominant groups, and the loudmouths that people are frightened of at first.
Yeah.
Like KellyAnne and Yes, like I'd love to see those two. It's like slow and steady wins the race. Like at the end, they just keep performing well. And another shout out to KellyAnne's muscles today. Whoa. When she was sitting, I'm like, she's just muscle. She's just like,
and she's got a very flat stomach. I mean, she's obviously keeps herself in like top shape. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did either of you watch the next on the challenge?
I sort of did, unfortunately.
We have 3 people getting sick. I don't know if it's next week or just later on in the season, because this might be, I don't know if that's the mid-season trailer, because we're at 7 episodes. Maybe there's 14 episodes. I don't know. But Ben, Tristan, and Amber get sick. I think we all know why Amber's getting sick, and she says she feels different. But Tristan and Ben, like, saying like, they're like, I don't think I can perform anymore. I think I'm done. Like, I don't know what happens to them. So and in general, it looks like we have some great drama coming up too. A lot of yelling matches happening. I hope that it all pays off, but it looks good. I'm excited for the next upcoming couple episodes.
I'm interested in the Tori and Danny dynamic.
Yes, that's a good fight.
We have seen a lot of bends, not breaks in their relationships, but a lot of chips that are chipping away. But at the same time, it's one of those where I keep saying I want a little bit more context. Like, she says to him, why'd you pick me? You obviously hate me.
Yeah.
Just wondering, okay, like what else is happening in their relationship? Because every partner is going to disagree. They have completely different stakes in the game. She's done it for, I don't know, call it 6 seasons, maybe one less, maybe one more. I don't know. This is his 2nd season. She has her ex-fiance here, but she obviously has relationships in the game that Danny doesn't really have in the game. So them disagreeing to me it seems like fair enough, you know, but for her to be like, you obviously hate me, I'm wondering, you know, is she of course just like kind of joking and being dramatic, or is there more happening that we haven't seen between the two of them where they clearly just do not get along at all?
I mean, I always think I don't put any stock in these trailers. I think it is the most wild lineest of ever of anything. I mean, I think that they obviously
edited.
Yeah, super edited. Danny, to some extent, not as foolhardily as Sarah, but is doing the same thing where it's like, this is my game, this is my game. It's like your game is with a partner. You can't just be like, my game, my game, my game. What you want doesn't matter. It's very weird. So they've been butting heads. I mean, I get it. It's gonna build up. They're involved in a team on team, like an inner Vera team, and then within the USA team, like power struggle. But I just think it's dumb. Again, like, this is what's bugging me. It's just dumb. It's like, she's got one person she doesn't want to say, let it go, like, move on. Yeah, who also would never say you guys, your team. So like, let it go for now.
And doesn't it feel like, from what we've seen, I feel like Tori's really putting her neck out for Jordan. And it doesn't look like totally reciprocated, but maybe
because
Tori
Cass isn't trying to vote Tori in.
Yeah. Well, there's no one's really going after Tori and Danny. Jordan hasn't had the opportunity to stand up for her yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something to keep in mind, because I don't know. It's great that they have such a good relationship after all they've been through. I love that. But I mean, you shouldn't necessarily play for someone else either, you know? Like, I don't want her to get tied up in being so concerned with protecting him that she blows her own game in the end.
And that's what are we under the assumption that when you make it to the finals, the top team gets all the money and no one else gets money?
We don't know.
I'm just wondering if that's the case. Yeah, if that's the case, Tori, you don't need to have Jordan there. Once you're in the final, you don't really. Most likely, it's gonna be a team thing. So,
I just, again, I'm beating a dead horse, but it's like, give her one person that she doesn't want us to pick, and to have every episode being a team on team fight, because.
Well, you had mentioned that Sarah's being stubborn, right, Pam? And that Danny's not as stubborn. Well, Danny is stubborn about this one freaking thing.
He's being very stubborn as well. He's just not a lunatic. He's not like, don't talk to me like that when she says, like.
Not many people are like Sarah. Thank goodness.
She's a lunatic. She's unhinged.
Well,
I do think he's being unreasonable.
To play devil's advocate, you could maybe even say Tori's being stubborn by wanting. You say you get your one person. Totally get it. Whether it's a friend or an ex-fiance, get it for sure. However, everyone's one person might not always be as great as Jordan is at the game. So for Danny's sake, he's like, but this is the person who's going to beat us. This is, if we make it to the final,
when it comes down to it potentially, then vote him in. But
I brought this up
of my money of winning this game. So like, yeah, we need to get him out. So I don't know if that's your one person. Should that matter to me?
Jenna, I brought this up with you last week. Danny knew damn well he's not like he's never watched the show before. He know, and you just know he knows who Tori would want to keep around. He should have picked a different partner if he was that worried about Tori wanting to save Jordan. I think that's on. I think there's some blame that needs to be on Danny for picking Tori in the first place. I get strong partner. There's got to be someone else. I think Danny picked very early on too, because he picked a very strong player. So there was someone else, maybe a Casey or someone else that was around that could have been just as good as Tori, or even if he's a little worse. I mean, come on, Danny is going to be fine carrying some of the load of this team, whoever's teammate is. Yeah. Anyways, all right.
Yeah, I mean, Monday morning quarterbacking.
Hell yeah.
Maybe he should have picked another one, but yeah.
No, not even Monday morning. We're talking 7 weeks later. We're talking. Right. 7 weeks ago, you should have probably picked someone else.
I just blame Sarah for all of it, because Sarah has really convinced Danny that. I don't think Danny was like, I'm coming in guns blazing and all I want is Jordan gone, or he wouldn't have picked Tori. I think Sarah convinced him that's like the only smart move to make, and that's why I blame Sarah.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Hashtag happy sun. What was our other hashtag? Hashtag
choose your people.
No, there wasn't. I think, Pam, you said another
wild line.
Hashtag wild lines. Yes. And we'll see you next week for episode 8 of the World Championship of the Challenge. Don't know the name of it yet, but I will be sure to tell you next week. Stay safe out there, everybody, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.